This video is presented by Western and Southern Financial Group, a game plan for your financial future. Every great team starts with a strong foundation, and your future should too. With life insurance built like a championship roster, Western and Southern helps protect what matters most so you can focus on winning today while planning for tomorrow. Whether you're just starting out your journey, building your dynasty, or ready to retire like a champion, Western and Southern has the right play for your life stage. Visit westernsouthern.com to get your free life insurance quote today. Western and Southern, built to win. The Panthers and the Saints. Panthers coming off of a bye, but the week before that, took down the Los Angeles Rams in Carolina. Now they're traveling to New Orleans to take on a Saints team that has already beaten them this year and is coming off of a win against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Do you want to talk about the Saints or the Panthers side of things?
I think when you look at what's been the difference so Tyler Shuck has made 5 starts now, 2 wins and 3 losses. And what's really been the difference and made a huge difference the first time that he played Carolina and beat them is his performance under pressure. And this was always a question about Tyler Shuck coming out of Louisville. Can he handle pressure and make good decisions? Well, we've seen a little bit of good and a little bit of bad. In the 2 wins under pressure, Tyler Shuck has an 86 PFF grade, just outstanding stuff, but we know that can be volatile as well. In the 3 losses, a 31 PFF grade. Now, you saw it last week against Tampa Bay, especially working with his legs, running the game-winning touchdown in, right? Making some plays, moving in the pocket. When he's doing that and he's calm and cool and stepping up through pressure and making throws downfield, he can be solid. That's what he did against Carolina the first time. I believe they sacked him 3 times, but there were a bunch of plays where he moved within and up through the pocket to make plays against this Carolina secondary. To me, this game on that side of the ball is about the Panthers' defensive line stepping up as they have done in some games this year, and they've let them down in some other games this year. Derek Brown and Nick Skorton, those guys on that defensive line, they have to apply consistent pressure to Shuck, and they have to be able to bring him down when he starts moving and improvising. If you can get Shuck under pressure and get him to make a couple of mistakes, you're at a big advantage. If you allow him to slide through the pocket and avoid that pressure and not get any sacks on him, then he can start to make plays on you, and he's getting more and more confident each week. The Panthers on both sides of the ball have to win this game in the trenches. I trust their offensive line. Their defensive line is the variable here, and it has been all season.
For the Panthers on the offensive side of things, when you look at their game against New Orleans in Week 10, Bryce Young went 17 for 25, 124 yards, no touchdowns, and had an interception in that game. More specifically, I look at Rico Dowdle in that game. This is when Carolina, I think, was really running the ball well at that middle part of the season. 18 attempts, 53 rushing yards, just a 2.9 yards per carry average there for Rico Dowdle. And when I looked into, I went into the film and I was looking at, how did they defend Carolina in this game? Brandon Staley, the defensive coordinator for the New Orleans Saints, he was really aggressive up front. He said in this game, I'm going to drop 3, because it's often what Brandon Staley does. I'm going to drop 3 guys deep, like true 3 deep coverage. And sometimes it was just like, vanilla, very traditional, corners and the safety dropping deep, that like traditional 3 deep zone. And other times it was more like cover 6, like a quarter, half look where they had 3 deep defenders no matter what. But these guys, when I say deep defenders, I don't just mean, they were responsible for the deep areas. Like the corners were off the line of scrimmage, ton of space between those wide receivers, and the safety was very clearly deep. They were just playing very deep coverage, and what they were doing up front was they were putting at least 5 guys, and a lot of times, sometimes even 6, on the line. Now, not with their hands down as defensive linemen. Like, it wasn't, I looked up how many times they ran a bare front, and technically, like, they didn't run a bare front a ton. They didn't have, like, 5 down defensive linemen a ton. But you go back and you watch the tape, and they are crowding the line of scrimmage. He was very aggressive at the line of scrimmage with 3 deep, true deep coverage behind them. And Carolina just wasn't very comfortable attacking the middle of the field. They would have those deep routes to Xavier Legette or Ted McMillan or like whoever it was. I remember watching a lot of those deep routes, but a lot of the intermediate stuff, Bryce wasn't comfortable attacking the intermediate parts of the field. And then when it came to rushing the football, well, a lot of times they didn't have a gap advantage. Like, they didn't have a hat advantage, as they will say, with being able to get an extra blocker who could be a lead blocker for you, the kick out guy, like whatever it is. And they weren't able to run the football well, and they were not able to pass the football well. I am very curious if that is how the Saints are going to play them once again in this game. Because not only is the tape out there for how they played them in Week 10, but also Bryce has played better. There have been a couple of games where Bryce has played really, really well as a passer. And are they comfortable with that same sort of coverage setup? That's an X's and O's part of this game that I'm very much looking forward to seeing what Brandon Staley is going to do in this one and how Dave Canales is going to counter it, or vice versa. What Dave Canales is going to do and how Brandon Staley is going to counter it. I'm going to go with the Panthers in this one. I think for how well, for as much as they are a very, very hot and cold team this season, for how well they played against the Rams and having an extra week to prepare for the Saints here, I'm going to go 20-17. I like that 2.5 favorite line there for the Panthers. I'm going to say the Panthers win this one 20-17.
I'm with you. This is going to be a close game. I think the Saints defense is playing really well right now, and Brandon Staley's done a good job of getting these guys to prevent explosive plays and make the opponent work for it. Look, the Panthers, the other thing that Staley did, not only with the 3-deep coverages, but he really stacked the box on early downs and said, you know what, if you want to beat us on early downs, you got to throw the football. This is a huge game. It sounds funny because it's Panthers-Saints. It's not going to be in the huge national spotlight and all that, but both for the division standings and just for Carolina to find some sort of consistency, right? They had a great performance a couple of weeks ago in a big win, then they get the bye week, and now you go into this game against a team you already lost to. You got to make some adjustments here. I think Dave Canales would be wise to work after the catch in the passing game a little more. He's got to challenge Bryce Young to throw it over the middle of the field a little bit more. I think the emergence now maybe of Jalen Coker as that intermediate route runner, that could really help them beating these zone coverages, because the Saints are not going to give them those shots over the top that sometimes Carolina wants. I think they're going to make them work for it. I'm taking Carolina as well. It's going to be a tough game in a tough environment, but this would be a huge win for the Panthers to get on the road, not only for the revenge factor, but to stay in and get another division win and hold the tiebreakers steady, especially if the Bucs beat the Falcons on Thursday. Give me Carolina 22-16.
Thomas in the chat saying, I can't wait for the Panthers to lose to the Saints 42-10, only for them to then beat the Seattle Seahawks 34-7. Because they make absolutely no sense. That's
probably exactly how that will go. Yeah, and then the tiebreak between them and the Bucs will go down to probably a coin toss, because why not?
Yeah, that's been the Panthers season. So I'm very interested to see if they can string together those good games coming after their win against the Rams there.